Okay, so today I'm speaking with Sasha Lee Taylor and got some incredible questions. You're running for Miss World South Africa.
Yes, that's correct.
Really excited to have
It
you
is.
on the magazine today.
Thank you so much. It's very exciting to be here. Thank you for having me.
Your journey from being published author to becoming Miss World South Africa finalist is really inspiring. What motivated you to pursue the diverse paths, and how do you manage to excel in each of them?
I have been passionate about both paths for most of my life. I have been in modeling since the age of 12. So I basically grew up in the industry. So that's very important for me. And with regards to my book and being a published author, I am so passionate about education and creating equal educational opportunities for everyone, which is why, because it is such a passion of mine that I excel in it, because I believe if you do something, you have to do it with passion.
Having majored in marketing and psychology, how have these disciplines influenced your approach to both modeling and directing at Ace Models West Rand?
It's actually an interesting story because I didn't think I was going to study marketing or psychology, but it has helped me tremendously in being able to understand people, how they function on a daily basis, and also in terms of business and marketing. I mean, I'm a published author and I run my own business, so it's very important for me to have that business background in order to excel in the business field as well.
And then Learn to Read, Learn to Lead is your most recent book. Could you share the core message of your book and how it resonates with your personal and professional experiences?
Absolutely. So, Learn to Read, Learn to Lead is a series of educational books. I currently have two that are published. I'm working on the third one. And the title, Learn to Read, Learn to Lead, actually came from Nelson Mandela's quote that said, "Education is the most powerful tool you can use to change the world." And that is where it came from, because my goal and my aim for these books is to ultimately create future leaders and give everyone the opportunity to have the resources to become those future leaders. So I think that's why it's so important. And then I work with the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, as well as the Child Welfare Tshwane Fund and Breadline Africa, so that we are continuously giving back and providing for our youth, and not just, this, for me, it doesn't want to stay in South Africa. I do want to take it globally one day, and that is the goal, and that's the aim for it.
You have a strong footing in philanthropy. Can you tell us about these causes that are close to your heart and any particular initiatives that you're involved in to drive positive change?
Yes, I have been involved in philanthropy since I was still in school, actually. It's something that I'm very passionate about, is giving back and, making a difference, putting a smile on someone else's face. And then when I started writing my books and started to realize that there's actually a massive educational gap, which we need to combat, that's why, for me, that's where the philanthropy came in. It's my way of trying to give back on a greater scale. So I work with three organizations that are very close with my heart, which is the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, Child Welfare Tshwane Fund. Those two organizations get 25% of our net profit sales from the book sales. And then the remaining profit goes towards Breadline Africa, that sets up shipping containers and converts them into classrooms, kitchens, libraries in underserved communities. So it is a massive project that we are working on. We are currently working on removing pit toilets as well from schools. And pit toilets is dangerous toilets where kids have to use to go to the bathroom. We have actually had an incident where kids have lost their lives due to this situation. So we are trying to remove these toilets from the schools.
It's incredible to see that you're doing these things to try to help people. I love that. What key leadership principles do you abide by, and how do you instill these values in Ace Models West Africa or West Rand?
So I live by a quote that says, "I'm not superior to anyone, I'm not inferior to anyone, but I'm equal to all." And I feel like this is something that I really instill within Ace Models West Rand, because we support each other. There's no one that is above or better than anyone else. We are there to help one another. And I feel like that is my role as a leader, to instill that and to set that example for them to follow. For me, it's very important that they have a positive role model to look up to at the end of the day.
As a model and public figure, you're a role model for many. What message do you aim to convey to young individuals aspiring to make a mark in the modeling industry or other fields?
I think the most important thing, and it's not just for the modeling industry, but in life in general, is to just be yourself. Don't try and fit into something that is not meant for you. You have your own path and you are unique in your own way. And I feel like if you embrace that, then everything else will fall into place.
The Miss World South Africa platform is a significant one. How do you plan to leverage this to further your philanthropic endeavors and promote your book?
So this is very interesting that you asked me this, and I think it's so important that I discuss this, because in South Africa, this is our first year of having a separate Miss World South Africa pageant. So it is very interesting because this is our first year of being completely separate to the national title of Miss South Africa. And then the winner of Miss World South Africa will then go on to the prestigious Miss World pageant in December. So I think this year is very significant and very different because it is the first one. So we are creating history in itself. My goal in the modeling industry was always Miss World. I entered numerous amounts of pageants when I was younger, but my end goal was always to stand on that Miss World stage and, represent South Africa. So for me, it's important because Miss World doesn't only signify walking on a stage or wearing pretty dresses. There's a whole Beauty with a Purpose campaign section, which we are huge advocates for, where we actually have to actively go out and make a difference. And I think that's why I resonate so much with this title, because this has been my life's mission for so many years. So I think I align so strongly with the brand and what it represents. I believe I can be such a powerful tool in using my educational campaign as well as the Miss World South Africa platform, taking that even further to Miss World to really change so many lives.
Then how are you preparing for the upcoming Miss World South Africa event on October 28th? And also, what does that mean to you on a personal and professional level?
Well, I've just come back from rehearsals, so I'm telling you the hours are very long and we are preparing very hard, but it is taking a lot of, self-recognition and digging deeper of what you actually want to get out of this competition and what is your goal at the end of the day. Yes, we all want to win the title and win the crown, but what do you do then? So for me, it's important to prepare mentally, physically, and especially that aspect of what am I going to use and what am I going to do should I win this title? How am I going to make a difference? Because it's not just about getting the crown on that 28th of October. It's about what you do after that with the crown for me.
And then how do you envision your future? And are there any specific goals or projects on your horizon that you're excited about?
I am very excited to finally finish the third book. Hopefully it will be soon. I have a third book that will be coming. And I do think that there will be a few other books. I don't think I'll stop at only 3. And with that, I would love to grow this educational campaign, Learn to Read, Learn to Lead, on a global scale and not just create a literate nation within South Africa, my country, but truly take it to countries that need it and that are in desperate need of educational resources, because it's not just us out there. There's a lot of other places that need the help. And one day in the future, I do also see myself representing South Africa on the Miss World stage in December. That is the main goal at the moment. And thereafter, I would like to go on to radio. Radio is one of my passions, and that's something that I would like to pursue after I have completed Miss World.
Very cool. Maybe in the future we can do a radio show together. You have to look me up.
Absolutely. I love that interaction. For me, that's the important part of the radio. It's very nice.
Could you share your thoughts on the importance of education and self-leadership in today's society?
So I think you have gathered by now, I'm a huge advocate for education, and I do believe everyone should have an equal opportunity and access to education. The sad reality is that there is not everyone that receives this opportunity. And I'll tell you a little story of when I was invited to the National Youth Summit in Parliament in South Africa in 2018. I sat there with a bunch of younger kids as well. They were as young as 7, 8 years old. And I'll never forget, in that parliament that we were sitting in, there was kids as young as 10 years old asking for equal educational opportunities. And for me, it was in that moment where I was like, kids that age should not be worrying about where they're going to get their education from. That's where we need to make a change. And I think that's also one of the light bulb moments for my Learn to Read, Learn to Lead, is to make sure that this grows to such an extent where we can help so many more kids that they don't have to worry about where are they going to find their next classroom, or are they still going to have a classroom outside under a tree type of thing. So education for me is the way forward, but I do believe we have a lot of work in order to help everyone receive that education. And when it comes to leadership, I think it goes hand in hand, because you can't create a leader without education. So I feel if we can address the problem of the educational gap, then if we are able to combat that, we can create such unique leaders that will be able to overcome so many challenges that have never been faced before, which I think is powerful.
And then throughout your journey, you've embarked on various roles such as director, author, model, philanthropist. How do you believe these experiences have shaped your perspective?
I believe that everything you go through in life is what is meant to happen. I think, sometimes it's not always sunshine and roses. There is going to be very difficult times, but it's how you get through the things and how you go about learning these new roles and overcoming these different challenges that helps you grow into a person. And for me, I'm very grateful for all the roles and all the hats that I've had to wear in my career, because it's truly helped me become such a well-rounded woman. And for that, I'm very grateful. I wouldn't change that at all.
What are some of the pressing issues in the modeling world today, and how do you aim to address them?
I think the sad reality in the modeling world is people don't see its relevance, or people only perceive modeling to be someone dressed very pretty standing on a stage or walking on a stage, but they don't see the hard work that goes on behind the scenes. They don't see the amount of self-confidence that can help give a young child that can barely speak in front of a crowd. And I think that is something that I would love to change, because there's so much more to modeling than just walking on a stage. You learn life skills that you would never have even imagined. And it's not just skills that you'll use in modeling, but it will be everyday life skills that you can use anywhere.
Like you just said, modeling is not just a beauty pageant, but you're actually using it to change the world and use that as a platform to be able to connect with people.
It's really true. And it speaks to beauty pageants as well, because beauty pageants give you that platform in order to help even more and make an even bigger difference. You don't need the beauty pageant platform, but it does help sometimes in order to open more doors for you. And at that, I would take that at any time.
What specific cause or issue would you champion as Miss World South Africa, and why?
Definitely, I would love to still focus on my educational campaign. We're currently facing a massive literacy crisis in South Africa at the moment, whereby there's 82 to 84% of grade 4 learners that cannot read for meaning. And for me, I think it's shocking. We need to change that, because how can we create future leaders that benefit society when they cannot even read in grade 4? So for me, it's that I would love to change. And then after taking it nationally within South Africa, it's something that I would love to take overseas. I have already taken my Learn to Read, Learn to Lead campaign over to Bulgaria, and it has been accepted into the Department of Education over there. So it's something that I would love to focus with World and Miss World South Africa, is by utilizing that platform to oversee it in other countries as well, because I know it will help and benefit other kids in other countries as well.
I love that. How do you plan to use your influence to drive positive change both within and outside the modeling industry?
I think for me, it's just important to be that example that you want other people to follow, and that positive role model. I know in working in the modeling industry and working with young teenagers, especially young girls nowadays, is they need that influence, that positive influence that they can go to and that they can look up to and see, wow, okay, she overcame some challenges. She got through it on the other side. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Or, if they are not comfortable speaking to their parents or their families at home, have that role model out there that you're able to discuss with. And for me, that's important when it comes to ACE Models West Rand, is I really try and be there for all of the kids. And it's about setting that example.
The theme of your Learn to Read, Learn to Lead books underscores the importance of education. How do you plan to promote literacy and education through the platform of Miss World South Africa and possibly Miss World?
I think my main goal and my main aim is to take my educational campaign, worldwide, and not create just a literate nation within South Africa, but truly create a literate world out there. And it is a powerful platform that we are working with at the end of the day, which I believe could only benefit from working with my educational campaign and me working with Miss World South Africa and ultimately Miss World, because we have a common goal and a common purpose of truly making a difference and helping children out there. Miss World is deeply rooted in community service and beauty with a purpose and what we do to make a difference. So I do believe that, using my educational campaign, I could truly impact thousands of kids' lives, and not just help them with educational resources, but also educational facilities. Because of the organizations that I work with, it would be a no-brainer to start setting up educational facilities across the countries that we go through and that we go and visit, the Miss World South Africa and the Miss World title.
Can you share a moment of failure that significantly impacted your journey and how you overcame it?
I think for me, I wouldn't say it was a failure, but it was something that I had to overcome. When I was a young girl, I was very bullied, and that led to very low self-esteem and self-confidence. But it was because of that I entered into the modeling industry. And I wouldn't change that for anything, because it has put me where I'm sitting today, and it has helped me grow into the woman that I am sitting today. So I think by me speaking about this as well, it's important, because I know there's a lot of girls and even boys out there that face exactly the same thing. And I just want them to know that it's not failure. It's okay. It ends, and you are so much stronger than what is putting you down in that moment.
That's great insight. I'm going to quote you on that. How do you maintain a sense of community and support among your peers in the modeling industry?
There's actually an amazing amount of support in the modeling industry. And I think this is also something I would love to change people's minds about, because a lot of people think, okay, the modeling industry, it's very competitive. People aren't friends. They don't get along very well. At the end of the day, yes, there is competitions, and you are, competing for one title. True, that's fine. But we are so supportive of one another, especially within my school. I call it a family. We're not just a modeling school. We're a mix of everyone that supports one another. And that's what I would love to encourage, because at the end of the day, you need to just compete against yourself. You can't compare yourself against all the other contestants, because it's going to drive you crazy. So rather just compete against yourself and make yourself the best version of who you are at the end of the day. And by that way, you can just support everyone else. I feel like there needs to be more collaboration out there in the world than competition.
That's powerful also. As a Miss World South Africa finalist, how do you stay grounded and authentic in your industry that often emphasizes appearance and presentation specifically?
I think this is very important when it goes down to knowing who you are, what you want to do with your journey, and what is your end goal. So for me, I always say, you always bring it back to your why. Why did you enter? Why are you in this industry? What are you doing here? And if you know the answer to that, it will help you stay grounded throughout every situation, because your why is why you are doing what you are doing today. And for me, I entered because I want to make a difference. That is my why. And that's how I stay humble and grounded, because constantly reminds me that there is kids out there that need my help. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
You kind of answered my last question with that response. But
sorry.
That's awesome, though. If you are crowned Miss World South Africa, what legacy would you want to leave behind, and how do you envision making a lasting impact both on the national and global stage?
I plan to leverage my educational campaign, Learn to Read, Learn to Lead, to change the face of education within my country and globally, should I win the Miss World and go on to Miss World title. However, I also want to be known and be remembered for the way I made people feel. I feel like my heart is my best asset, because I care deeply about people and I'm very compassionate about humanity. My legacy that I would love to leave is how I treated people and how people remember me by.
What is the best way for people to get a hold of you and also to be able to purchase your books?
So my books are available through our publisher, which is Naledi.
How do you spell that?
It's Naledi.
Okay.
And then they can get hold of me through Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, which is Sasha Taylor 21.
Perfect. And do you plan on publishing the books on Amazon or any other Apple Books or any of those type of platforms?
Definitely.